I am excited to moderate this panel where we will explore transformative power of partnerships that drives accelerated actions towards the implementation of global goals. We'll try to be time conscious in our answers so that we deliver powerful key takeaways to the audiences. Your Excellencies, this question is for each one of you. From your perspective, what is an effective model that countries can adopt to govern sustainability actions and to ensure whole of society projects are complementary to one another? Your Excellency Vidot.
Good morning, everyone, and a special warm welcome to the team from Seychelles who is here this morning. Well, different models, obviously. There are different models I will adapt to different countries based on context. But what has worked for Seychelles, or what we have been practicing, is the formulation of our national development strategy, which is directly aligned with our agenda to achieve our sustainable development goals as a country. And based on that, obviously, different countries have different meaning that they attach to sustainable development or sustainability. And for Seychelles, as a small island nation, as that we are very dependent on our environment. We're very much dependent on tourism. That is the mainstay of our economy. So for us, environmental protection and conservation is very important for us. It's of utmost significance, and therefore it forms the cornerstone of all the decisions and all of the policies and decisions even pertaining to development and investment that we undertake in our country. So, for instance, we put environmental protection and conservation, and the importance basically that's attached to it is also outlined in a legislation that would govern, for instance, a project that an investor, a private investor, would be undertaken in the country. And that would entail going through a rigorous process of assessment, environmental impact assessment, which means that if a development would have a negative or an adverse impact on the environment, the country, Seychelles as a country, has the responsibility to say, we have to be very careful, we will proceed with the project or we will not proceed with the project. Alternatively, we will be able to guide the investor and help them to put in place mitigating measures to prevent our environment from being affected. So, I mean, each country would have different models, but for us, this is sustainability. For us is obviously we really focus on environmental protection and conservation, and of course this will ensure the survival of our small island nation in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for sharing the learnings from Seychelles. I look at Your Excellency, Mr. Bobley, and maybe you could share with us your perspective.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. I like very much the word navigate, yes? Let's navigate to SDGs. But what means this navigate? How we will navigate until 2030, 2045? And 2015 was a milestone, yes? Because we had Sendai with natural risk reduction. We had Addis Ababa, the money. We have Agenda 2030 and Paris Agreement. We are we passed the halfway. And we have to have our inventory, yes? Of course, the best model is the Romanian model, yes?
Absolutely.
I hope.
Tell us more.
I hope, because, you know, on that time, the Romanian society was, of course, in a developed society, and we are part of European Union, but was something, a new approach. We have to be change makers, yes? We have to change mentalities. How we change? The society, the politicians, because we have to change also the mentality of the politicians. And first of all, you need a vision. Yes? A vision based on Agenda 2030. It was the first document which quantified what we have to do on the next 15 years. You need political willingness, and we were the first parliament, the Romanian parliament, in 2016, from the IPU, that we had a very strong political commitment. And they say on this commitment that we need to establish a department on the level of the Prime Minister's office, because we need a policy coherence on the center of government. We established this in 2017. We have a good strategy. Now we revised after 7 years, and we have the institutional framework. The government, which is an interdepartmental committee headed by the Prime Minister, because if we are speaking about circular economy and others, 12 ministers are involved in this. And the Prime Minister has to say, okay, you have to do this, this, this. So we have a consultative council, the vice people of those who from academic area and others, 34, each of 2 of each SDGs, yes, 17 or 2 is 35. And we have a coalition formed by about 150 members from civil society and private sphere. So in this moment, we have a VNR, but we have to have an accountability to measure. And we have 99, after 3 years, 99 indicators. We have our VNR presented at HLPF in New York last year. And we quantify that we are in this moment at the 62% how we fulfilled what we engage ourselves in 2018. So, but it's important to move the different institutions, you know. Let's move it, and to discuss with the people. Inclusiveness, it's very important. And of course, to approach the society to be partner.
This is amazing. And was it as a government for Romania implemented quickly, or did you face bureaucracy because it's government, consultation, roll out, measure, come back? Like, how long did it take?
We are together. My Secretary General of the government, Mr. Minister Abudan, is here. So we have bureaucracy like in each country. But basically, we have to find the measures. Because it's you know, your minister for, I was attended a very important conference yesterday with you, yeah. and the minister said about passion. Yeah. It's very important, a positive approach. And to feel for the society, we have I don't know how many projects and partnerships with the civil society. We have sung on the rap music for the young generation. Yes, and they are very keen. What is this 17 SDGs, the 17 superheroes? Yes, you know. So we have to be in touch with different stakeholders from the society. This is the key, in my opinion.
Amazing. Thank you, Your Excellency. Dr. Muhyiddin, from an international organization perspective, how do you govern sustainability?
Right. Well, thank you so much. And again, let me echo all of those who thank the leadership of the UE in hosting us and the great work and support from the competent team supporting the councils for many years now. I've been here and the first day when it was launched, and I'm happy to be here when this phase is ending and leading to another. So what could work, really? It's on a system that would appreciate evidence-based approach, a system that can really take matters related to data and evidence seriously, a system that can appreciate those who can count. Let me just get into a simple exercise. 15 plus 35 plus 50. That is 100. Remember that, because I'll be mentioning that twice. 15% is basically the trajectory that we have today for SDGs from now until 2030. It's not about our achievement today. It's basically with the pace that we are following the progress of SDGs, assuming that we are in 2030 today, of all of the SDGs, of the not just the goals, of the targets that we managed to measure, only 15% are on track. 35% are worse than the year we started in 2015. And 55% are slightly or significantly off track. This is the global record. Of course, there are some exceptions in some countries and some exceptions in some sectors, but the global perspective of matters are telling us that we are not on track. So everything that we can do for a better system that is more accountable, that is more tailored to the needs of every country and every locality, that has better engagement between government, private sector, philanthropies, and NGOs, that is a system that can really provide more promising approach on delivery. And we're not starting from scratch. This is a group of goals that is very much relying on the old MDGs. The Millennium Development Goals, those who managed to do better than others are those who took data seriously, that they managed to mobilize finance from all sources, domestic and external, public and private, and those who had effective implementation at all levels, national and local, with better accountability. Those who failed, who have been wondering until the last minute whether they should be doing it or not. And it's not just about developing economies. I was surprised to see in the very day of this year, the very first day, that an article in the Financial Times written, it's a world that appreciates freedom of speech. Is it a good idea to have the SDGs or not? And then people say, well, we are overwhelmed by the numbers. 17 goals are too much. Actually, any government, and we have many people from government, any government that is worth its existence is doing SDGs on a daily basis. It's investment in human capital, investment in infrastructure and digitalization, investment in resilience. You call it 17, you call it 169 targets, and this is a responsibility of a whole government. SDGs are for the whole of government, not just one ministry that is championing the work. So you take a whole of government approach, a whole of society approach, with the approach that we need to have as well for the private sector. SDGs are created for governments and countries. ESG is something else. These are for the private sector. So we need to have the ESGs aligned with the SDGs. And then with this kind of progress, we see the good exceptions of countries. And we saw yesterday your Minister of Energy, Housing, Minister Sohail, was speaking with more confidence than others that he's on track, because based on the KPI, that there is something that is happening, because here there is a better data system, better mobilization of finance, and there is some sort of good accountability as being mentioned. I can really say something very quickly as well. Learning from a good work by a Nobel Prize laureate, Mike Spence, who has been here inspiring lots of good ideas on growth. He said, before getting ourselves into good ideas, let's list the bad ideas that we should be avoiding. And actually, from some of the international financial institutions, there have been some confusing signals, whether we should really be doing climate first or doing poverty first. And by creating a false dichotomy and false trade-off, as proven in our council, SDG 1, and we have two excellent representatives, Dr. Jamal Al-Saghir and Professor Maria Alejandra, and with a group of enlightened and distinguished scholars in their own field, we produced this piece, a transition approach to poverty reduction and climate finance. So our group SDG 13 shouldn't really be unhappy with us because we promoted their work even further. I'm happy to tell you that this piece informed COP27 and COP28, and we used it extensively, not just to brag about knowledge of the experts, but basically to influence policymaking. And I'm happy that the co-chair is here, Excellency Sheikh Hassa is with us as well, that this kind of work influenced not just the prioritization, but how to mobilize finance. So if you're aware of the piece of Nextern, Vera Songwe, and Amar Bhattacharya on the gaps, is basically telling us that there is no trade-off, there is no dichotomy whatsoever between climate action and development action. Climate finance is within development finance. And many people, based on bad advice from some of the international organizations, wasted too much time on that. Resorting to common sense is a good idea. Then we have another one. Should we tackle what's so-called global public goods, or we engage at the country platform? Another misleading approach. You cannot tackle global public goods, be them pandemics, or you can call them an SDG 3, or issues related to climate, SDG 13, or food security, or issues related to implications of migration without acting at the very local level. Common sense needs to prevail. What else? Should we have better funding or bigger funding? For God's sake, we have a very big funding gap. We have $5 trillion a year for developing economies and emerging markets. 2.4 trillion are for the climate action alone. So we need all sources of finance, better, faster, bigger.
Dr. Mahiddin, you let me right straight to my second question. How can government, international organizations build capacity for public administration in the field of sustainable development? Are there any practices that you have seen you'd like to share with us? But I think it's, as you mentioned, really, really important to get the funding and build capacity. So,
right. I'm happy that I mentioned something of importance, but let me get into that slide. Do you still remember the 100?
Yes, 15, 35, 50.
MashaAllah. So 15% advanced economies, loss of efficiency and costs of doing business in infrastructure, which is almost responsible for 75 to 80% of what we spend in all of the SDGs. Infrastructure, everything requires infrastructure, digital or physical infrastructure. Your hospitals, your education systems, now the advanced technologies. Everybody's talking about AI. I was promising my daughter not to mention it, but I mentioned that already. So everybody's talking AI. We need infrastructure for that. Advanced economies are losing 15% of their projects when it comes to bad governance. And we're not talking here corruption. It's bad in the efficiency and bad in the organization. Emerging markets and developing economies, how much do you think they are losing? 35% here, 35%. 50%, unfortunately, the low-income countries. So here, when we start to consider all of these issues about accountability and about the timeliness of the projects and about the mobilization of resources, you go to advanced economies with your fund. Consider, and I'll be speaking later to our Altera group. The CEO will be there, His Excellency Dr. Majid. First, in his consideration, are you an advanced economies? I learned from this piece, not by Mahmoud Muhiddin, it's by somebody called Schwartz. It's a piece that I encourage you to have a look at, please. It's called Well Spent, How Strong Infrastructure Governance Can End Waste in Public Investment. And this is beyond corruption. Corruption is another story, a very bad story. So if he's dealing with an OECD country, it's 15% potential of loss. This includes our good friends in Romania, unless they are doing better than the average of OECD. If it is emerging markets and developing economies, you'd lose 35% of every $100 that you can obtain from Altera. If you are a low-income country, 53 to 55%. And that happens because of bad design, changes in management, sudden changes in management, a siloed approach, a minister who committed today and then a change of government tomorrow, another minister said, no, this bridge shouldn't be from A to B, it should be from A to C. And you go back again. All of these kind of matters are practical issues of consideration. So your question is spot on. It's basically about governance, accountability, and the best way of doing that, not to keep it a secret between governments and parliament alone, making that all to the general public, because in the general public, I bet there will be much better, more smarter people than those. I've been in government. I was trying to be in parliament as well, so I know that the average citizen are much smarter than those who are in government. With all due respect to the ministers, but you are elected by smarter people, so you have to be proud.
Thank you, Dr. Mahiddin. Your Excellency, Vidot, would you like to give us your experience on how to build capacity for public administration in sustainable development?
So I mentioned earlier how Seychelles has the National Development Strategy, and basically that serves as the guide for all the decisions and the actions that the government takes in terms of the development of our country. And a pillar of that is the reform in public service. So we're a new government. I'm a newly elected minister. It's a fairly new government, and we have placed a lot of emphasis on reforming the public service. And come with capacity building of our public officers. It will come also with investing in digital infrastructure and imparting new skills to our public servants, so that will improve efficiency and improve effectiveness of the services that we offer. And how does this then tie in with assisting Seychelles or helping Seychelles in achieving our SDGs? So part and parcel of the reform will also see a reform in the structure of how ministries are structured, and the monitoring and evaluation unit, which is of fundamental importance in a ministry or in a department. It's something that we had seen was not actually being effectively utilized. So we have embarked as well on a program for us to put in place to reform the monitoring and evaluation unit. And what that does, Doctor, is essentially it allows the government to take decisions based on evidence. So this is, and that's basically pulled in through the monitoring and evaluation unit, because the unit will be able to collect data, will be able to do surveys, to do analysis, and this will better inform the government or the department of a ministry about what actions need to be taken, what actions, interventions need to be prompted at the higher level. In that way, the decisions that will be taken by governments would not just be decisions that politicians would want to take to drive their political agenda, but rather it would be based on what the country needs, what the citizens need. And for us, this is a lot more important than just ticking the box and saying we're targeting the SDGs. For us, it's about the people. It's about our people. It's about sustainability, the livelihoods of our people. It's about sustaining the environment that we live in. It's about building a future for the generations to come.
It's amazing to use data-driven insights to prioritize the government initiatives. I think it's great. Mr. Bobley, would you like to share about Romania?
Yes, and thank you very much that you mentioned about OECD, because fortunately in 1 year we will be full members of OECD, and it's important to have this dimension of institutions, financial and external institutions, so globally speaking. And we have a new job in Romania, expert in sustainable development. As I know, it's the only country from European Union that has this job, and we will have 2,000 experts until 2026 in public administration. Why? Because they are hubs. They are a network of us. Now we have 150 based on a training of universities, and they are who helped us from the beginning, and now I know because the ministers are very stable and the Secretary of State, but we changed in a couple of months or years, but the network remains. So it's very important, this task, and we will finalize in March the fourth consultancy with OECD regarding policy coherence, regarding to increase the professional skills, how we are looking to different strategies, how we are looking to the regulatory impact assessment. And we have in European Union taxonomia, which is a menu for the private sphere. We have to speak about, of course, investments, how we will offer to the private sphere which kind of sustainable investments they should do. And the banking sector is prepared. In this moment, also in Romania is prepared for, we will have, now just 1 week ago, the government announced about green bonds. So we will have green bonds by the National Bank of Romania, because we need more approach to those who want to invest in this kind of way. We have a code of sustainability in Romania, which is transparent, it's a platform, and we have to check all the companies, what they are doing on the sustainability. And they are partners. It's voluntary, it's not obligatory, but they are come because they know that the citizens has, to know what they are doing on the level of sustainability. And I like very much in your country is this government accelerator. Yeah. We have a memorandum with you, and we will have probably also in Romania this kind of government accelerator, how you take the pulse of the citizens, and after that, in 100 days, in a half a year, or in 4 years, you can take, okay, the citizens are coming to us, and we respond. So the partnership is very important in this field, to feel the citizens that, okay, it's not just to look around and they are the politicians, but to be, and we have, I don't know how many partnerships with wonderful people. I say to the media, why we don't have breaking news, positive breaking news, just negative breaking news, a half an hour per day to have positive breaking news, because the most important is the people, the human. Why we don't have more time to listen each other, to discuss each other? Of course, we need technology, but we need each other, our soul, our positive energy to do more. And that's why it's important to have leadership of the sustainability in different countries.
Absolutely, and thank you, Your Excellency. We looked at governance models, best practices, and building capacity to data-driven development. What role can data-driven development play in overcoming challenges and leverage opportunities for fostering international cooperation among governments to collectively achieve these global goals? Your Excellency, Mr. Bobley, would you like to start on this question?
Thank you. 2 years ago, we received a big award of UN, just we received here at Expo Dubai. And why? 2 issues. One, for efficient implementation in public sphere, the Agenda 2030, and second, for innovative tools. So these innovative tools, it's everything. Education, we have a partnership with wonderful and very talented people, education on high, especially in COVID, but during COVID, but now it's about 40,000 of people are watching this by drones. They know better about this issue. We have a partnership with different bodies to technology to go forward and to have a relationship with the society. International institutions are very important, and we have to think how we can help each other. I was in 2014 and 2013, I organized some regional meetings on sustainability. I was parliamentarian with this part of Western Balkans and Caucasus, and they are now leaders, some of them, and I have a network on this, because they were parliamentarians, and now they are leaders in sustainability. So this is very important to have the milestones of what you have to do in the future. And technology is not an enemy, technology is our friend, but we have to use us and don't forget the human relationship.
Absolutely. We have to use it responsibly. Minister Vidot, would you like to share your insight?
Yes. So maybe I could answer the question by providing an example of an initiative or of a project that Seychelles has embarked on. Last year, with the support and collaboration of the United Nations Development Programme, the UNDP, Seychelles successfully launched what we call an SDG investor map. So this, of course, we're very grateful for the extensive collaboration and support that the UNDP provided to us. And essentially, what the investor map is, it serves as a tool that guides private capital to opportunity areas in Seychelles that is aimed at achieving the SDG goals. So in essence, we basically, and basically, in order to arrive at producing the tool, it required a lot of, it required extensive consultations with the private sector first and foremost, but also it relied a lot on extensive data research. So with this methodology, Seychelles was able to come out with a tool that basically we're able to guide private capital to targeted and to specific areas within the economy where we would like to see development. And in that, this would directly result in allowing Seychelles to move forward in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. So it's a wonderful tool, and it's available online. It can also, we're also able to print out a brochure that we can, which is a physical copy that we can hand out whenever we do our roadshows and we're doing our promotion events. But it's also a tool which, it's a live document that we're able to update as and when we find that there are areas of focus that need to change. But essentially, it helps us to keep on track. It helps the government to keep track of which areas are of importance. It helps us to not to waste the resources, the limited resources that we have. And we know that all of the areas that we have highlighted as investment opportunity areas are areas that will allow the country to achieve or move towards achieving its SDGs.
I think that's a great practice to have an SDG investment map, and having something globally, I think, will also promote more investments towards that direction. Dr. Muhyiddin, since you have the report and the numbers, would you tell us how data-driven development will assist in identifying challenges and maybe converting them to opportunities?
Right. In this session and others, we use data in a very generic way to mean information in some cases, to mean knowledge sharing. And as mentioned several times in different ways, all countries, including Seychelles and Romania, have been updating the global system and here with their experience, including through the voluntary national reviews. A good use of AI, I would really not miss a chance by getting all of the accumulated knowledge that we have been having since 2016, a year after the launching of the SDGs, and trying, if you are the Egypt of the world, for instance, my country, I would really go and check after tailoring political economy dynamics, cultural issues, some sort of country-specific characteristics, what could be of relevance from, say, Seychelles or Romania for my work. I would directly get from Seychelles, for instance, some of the innovative tools, not just on what had been mentioned by the Honorable Minister, through partnership with UNDP, but basically through the innovative solution to their debt problem by having very advanced innovative debt swaps to nature. And now your benchmark have been used by other countries, including Belize and then more recently Barbados, and we know middle income and high income countries using the same model, tailoring them to their own scale. In Romania, I would really learn from 30 years of transition, as mentioned in a very eloquent way just now, in order to know how to manage and navigate, but fast and with wisdom. This is the top of the data, information, and knowledge. With wisdom, what could be of more relevance? And then I would really say, how can we do this kind of acceleration fast? Last time when we did the MDGs, it was the acceleration in the last 1,000 days. Now we still have more than that. The beauty of our system today, that if it is open, despite all of the wars, the disruptions, the ugliness that we see, but globally today we have better ways of getting knowledge and soliciting ideas, not like in my father's generation, that there was only one source of knowledge and advancement that will be coming from the West and the North. Now we can really get some of the most advanced technologies in fintech, for instance, from countries like Nairobi. Best ways of using advanced technologies in healthcare in Rwanda. Some advanced technologies in green hydrogen from Namibia and Mauritania. So I'm getting examples from Africa because I'm doing more work there. There are many examples that you are checking now. Who is the readiest country in the world when it comes, third time I'm mentioning it, sorry to my daughter again for the third time, AI. The readiest country, it's not one of the OECD countries, it's not one of the European countries. The first one is Singapore. That was in 1965, a country that was not even eligible to be part of a federation of a neighboring country. Now, because they took themselves seriously, investment in human capital, education, health, and being disciplined, and they have guidance when it comes to what should really be they doing better, not just to say, well, we are just a developing economy, we are going to get the acceptable minimum, but push fast and hard toward the best. So the standards, the best practices are coming from now. I'm proud that perhaps there is some competition here, but the COPs that have been hosted in the Global South, from Egypt COP27 to the UAE COP28, now in Azerbaijan, and the promising COP in Brazil, I would say that they are bringing more solutions and less of a bragging about the problems and having practical ideas than just empty frameworks than any COP before since Paris. I have, of course, my Global South bias, but you can't discount that. But this is a fair competition for the good, because the outcome that come from here is basically for the benefit of all. Why that is happening? Because now we have better generations that are better educated than their fathers and their grandfathers. And who are the most proud of this? As I saw in one of my colleagues here in the Emirates, he speaks 2 languages eloquently, but he is more proud of his daughter speaking 5 languages and with 3 degrees in engineering, business, and management. This is the kind of investment that can make one, despite all of the ugliness of wars and disruption, more confident that we can achieve the SDGs if there is what you both in different ways mentioned, the political will, because the technical solutions are there when it comes to finance or data or effective implementation. But the political will at all levels is basically what is missing in many cases.
Thank you, Your Excellencies, for your insights and sharing your experiences. And I would like to thank the SDGs in Action to allowing us to share those experiences with the world, and hopefully we work together for...
Final sentence.
Absolutely.
We have some brands.
Yes.
As you see my tie, yes? The colors of... And we have a brand, the Magic Cube, the Rubik Cube of sustainability, with the 17 SDGs. And it's like our life. If the pieces are not in their places, we have a problem. Let's solve our magic cube of our life. Let's have a good life. Let's have a more sustainable life. So thank you very much. And I deserve to have this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.